Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris here, playing some more Pillars of Eternity. We're at a very important crossroads in the game here, having just finished up pretty much all the quests around here with the Gilded Vale area, gotten our stronghold, conquered the Wooden Plains, picked up the Ranger, and at this point you have some interesting choices to make. You can either go down to Searing Falls, and I think there's like another area you can explore around here, or you can go to Stormwall Gorge and Durford Village, or you can do both of these things, or you can go to the city. Now, when you were playing in your own game, I do want to talk a little bit about, strategically, the differences between these options. Whichever one you do now is going to be a little bit harder, because if you were to do it later, then your characters would be leveled up by the time you got to it. So just to make it very clear, like if I go to, I'm going into the city right now, that's what I've chosen to do. So I'm going to level up while I'm doing some quests in the city, which means that when I get to Searing Falls and the Gorge and the village and all this stuff, those areas are all going to be a little bit easier. By contrast, the quests in the city that I'm doing right now are going to be a little bit harder because had I gone to these other random areas, I would have leveled up before I got to them. I don't know to what degree this game scales its encounters, but I don't think it actually does at all. I could be wrong, please correct me if that is the case. I believe that, you know, the only thing that scales is if you kill a really easy monster, you don't get any EXP out of it. But I don't think things get, like, easier or harder depending on, do I have fast mode active there? I don't think things get easier or harder depending on whether, you know, depending on what level your party is. This isn't a real map, by the way. It's just a little scenic thing. You can talk to the commoners, I guess. I'm in scouting mode just in case there's some sort of treasure here. Okay, do we talk to the Justiciar? Okay, so that's the main quest line. Obviously, I'm not gonna rush to that or anything.
Hail, traveler.
Okay, so he doesn't tell you anything. Alright, so here we are in Defiance Bay. There's 5 different areas. You do have to kind of unlock them. Right now I can only go to Copper Lane. It only takes minutes to pass between areas, so time kind of literally crawls to a halt while you're here. If you are someone who wants to quickly build up your stronghold, I mean, obviously you can always just like wander around the map, but you know, here for example, oh, what the, hey, okay, fine, we'll do this. I have not seen that before. I don't know what it is, but we'll go back there. I generally like to deal with the visitors because it's interesting. I guess maybe in this playthrough, since we're not reading the text most of the time, I could have just let that guy go and not cared too much about it, but and actually, I should have probably like at least explored some of the map.
This place is secure.
Anyway, let's go here. So when you come to your camp, you need to go.
You must gather your party before venturing
Go over here to this main keep area thing. I believe the monsters, like you could have fought monsters when you were here the first time, and you can kind of see now how pointless it is because as we're gonna expand the keep and rebuild parts of it, the monsters seem to just disappear. I guess the working crews just take out their hoes and shovels and just beat all the shades to death. Anyway, I'm gonna quick save because sometimes things badly go. Good talking, Boris. And let's see what this guy. I'm gonna actually read this, guys. I've never seen this before, so yeah, feel free to read along with me. Begging your pardon. I'm not gonna read this all out loud. I should clarify. I'm gonna read this in my head. I'm legitimately playing through this story, so I'm hoping we could talk. All right, let's talk to this dude. Okay, what you got for us? Oh, there's my kitty cat. So, okay, so this seems to be like a thief. Okay, so this person's a thief and needs help. So he's willing to give us something that he stole. Yeah, fine. Let's help him escape. This is morally reprehensible, but sure. Oh, I don't have a house domino positive 3 reputation. All right, well, we'll give this guy 1,000 coppers, which is ridiculously generous, but sure, I'll do it. All right, I got a cape of the cheat and a potion of power. Well, I'm never using the potion, so I hope this cape is good. I just paid 1,000 copper for it. What do we got here? Grants escape, 1 per encounter. Immune to engagement. And it's an 8-minute. Alright, sure, I'll take it. Who's wearing this thing? I guess maybe someone who really doesn't want to be attacked, like maybe the ranger. Potion of power is going in the inventory. Fine hunting bow is not as good as her unique hunting bow, so that's going away. Although, what are you shooting with? Oh yeah, he likes to use reload weapons. Okay. So that was that. I still have a ton of money, so I should be okay. And he makes a beeline for the nearest port. Oh. It's going to take 14 days for this to finish. I have no idea what's going to come of that. Am I even working on something? Oh yeah, this thing is going to finish in 8 hours. Anyway, as I was saying before all this happened, sorry, I clicked into this menu just to talk about this. So when you're in Defiance Bay going across the maps, because it only takes minutes to go between sections, time in-game doesn't pass. So if you really want to work on your stronghold, you either have to just arbitrarily walk around the map for absolutely no reason, a whole lot, or you have to, or you should just not go to Defiance Bay and conquer the other maps first, because the time travel between those other maps is much greater. Anyway, I can't rest here, which is fine. I'll just rest at one of the inns in Defiance Bay. From all this traveling, I suspect my people are going to be tired pretty soon. Yeah, I haven't finished Bright Hollow Restoration because I was trying to get the stuff that gives you free things. The treasury is here, so you should always stop by here. But I haven't collected any taxes or completed any quests, I guess, or gotten any random parts. So, well then, that was cool. So we just came back, and I guess in 14 days of game time, which is like I might finish the entire game before 14 days have gone by. I don't know how that's
Walls need some work
gonna go. But anyway, let's get back to business. That was a nice little 6-minute diversion. So in Defiance Bay, as you can imagine, you're going to spend quite a bit of time there because you get quests in an area, and then those quests have you go back to some other area, and then the quests in the second area, it turns out there's a quest in the first area. Like, you know, I'm sure that there's some like really optimal path to plot through the zones. I am not going to bother trying that. I should have moved across the maps one screen at a time. Damn it, because then I could have started doing this next thing. I had only 8 hours left to finish, but I traveled for 22 hours. Okay, well, anyway. What's the thing here that gives me stuff? I already got the curio shop. I can never remember. I wish they were next to each other. Yes, botanical garden, a random plant. I'm not even ever going to use these plants, but whatever. I guess I should have done something else first, but you know, just because I'm never actually going to use the plants. But anyway, so here we are in the first zone. I am not going to explore like every single house. Like, oh, Persnick's house. I always thought that was kind of weird, a little bit hokey in games where it's like, oh yes, I've arrived in a new city and there's good old Persnick's house. Yes, I think I'll pay them a visit. Okay, well. So I'm not going to go through all those places, but is anyone tired? No, no one's tired yet, so I guess I don't need to actually rest. I'm sure there's some quest in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let the quests happen to me. I'm not going to like go out of my way to make them happen, but for the most part, I'll let them happen to me, with just one exception. There are 3 factions in Defiance Bay, and it's eventually necessary, but in the short term, it's convenient to ally with one of them. And I really like how the game handles this, actually, because most games, if there's ever this like faction concept, it's either like there's the good guys, and then there's like the obvious bad guys, and you side with the good guys if you're like a normal human being behaving rationally. You side with the bad... Who the hell needs this? You side with the bad guys if you just, like, you know, feel like doing a bad playthrough, or, you know, stuff like that. But in this game, like, all the factions sort of make sense in their own way, and they're all kind of flawed in their own way. So there's the mercenary guys, who are sort of rough and tumble, libertarian sorts of people, and that's really cool and all, but they're like some of the mercenaries themselves are kind of assholes, even though the leaders are decent people. She sells traps, really? Traps. Okay, I'm gonna get that though. Oh, glad I caught that. Always get those things, those ropes and grappling hooks and hammers and chisels. In fact, do you have something along those lines? No, you just have the lion body parts that I gave you. No one even asked, like, hey, how come you have, like, random lion body parts? This is the alchemist person. Camping supplies is all you got. Oh, yeah, I need to retrain Sagani. She sucks. That's like someone went through and picked, like, the worst possible talents they could have come up with. Anyway, if you want to have a stealth character, this is a good person to do it with. I'm not going to care. I've already got someone to do mechanics. Lore is totally irrelevant. So what we're going to do here is get athletics. But the thing is, like, athletics isn't that relevant either, because once you're ever going to get hit, I guess I'll put a couple of points in, and like a point in stealth for whatever reason, and the rest we'll put in survival. Nothing really matters that much for her. Now let's talk about some of these ranger talents. A lot of the ranger talents basically help the companion, so we'll grab them just to make the companion a bit more efficient. The vicious companion is good. It increases your animal's damage, and it gives them DR bypass, so it's just like really solid. I'm kind of surprised that this doesn't require anything. It's not like you have to be targeting the same target as your companion. It's just like, nope, the companion just deals a bunch more damage, so we'll definitely take that. And then I guess I'm going to put these points in survival for whatever the hell reason. Here we get an ability. So rangers don't have spells, so they get abilities every other level and talents every other level. So we got Swift Aim, which lowers your accuracy but increases your attack and reload speed. And it actually gives an amazing bonus to reload speed. So bows don't have reload, but if you're using a crossbow or a gun, this is really, really solid. The accuracy penalty, though, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, either it increases your DPS overall or it doesn't, and I'm pretty sure it increases your DPS overall. I don't like abilities like this because it's just like bonus damage, and that's pretty much it. Marked Prey is what she started with, and I like it, so I'm going to just take it. It's for basically the entire battle. You get a big 20% damage boost against a target that you mark with it. There's also Predator Sense, which makes it so that when the animal damages an enemy that's already taking damage over time, it gets a really huge damage buff, but I don't really care about that. I'm not going to bother with it. And then there's another, you know, mode that it does a bunch of random shit, but at the end of the day, it basically just boosts your damage. Now, if you're going to stick with the bow, I think this is probably the one to use, because bows have the fastest attack speed, so the penalty matters less for them. And so, like basically, I'm not sure if this is right. I think this is correct. Again, the combat stuff is pretty complicated in this game, but basically, this range attack speed, that's sort of like referring to the like reset time between attacks. So the smaller it is, the less this matters. And a weapon that has like a really slow attack speed to begin with and has a really long pause between your attack animations will just have a greater effect because you're taking 20% of a bigger number. So if you're using a bow, which are the fastest ranged weapons, this doesn't matter too much. And the reload speed doesn't matter at all because there is no reload speed for bows, but you get a huge bonus to accuracy and a bunch of bonus to range damage. Actually, this is really good. I maybe should take this instead of Marked Prey. I will get another ability, but of course at level 5 you get new abilities unlocking, so which one do I care about? Well, we'll take the one that actually requires you to do something just to make it a bit more interesting, I suppose, but the other one actually seems like it might be mechanically better. Okay, so now we have a talent here. We can grab Brazillian Companion, which I like. It gives 3 extra damage resistance against all damage types, including like elemental and stuff, to your animal companion, which is good because the more that enemies hit the companion, the better your party is, and so the more damage your companion can take, you know, the better. Alright, so now we're getting another ability. So now we have some new ones. Defensive Bond, this is so weird. So if you and your companion are both targeted by the same AoE, then you get a big boost against it, but obviously if you're playing range and your companion's up in front, it's not that big of a deal. Stalker's Link I don't like, although 10 accuracy is really huge. I just cannot be bothered to make sure I'm attacking the same thing as my companion. And it's not that I don't want to, you know, micromanage things in battle. Like, you might be like, well, Boris, earlier you were just saying, like, let's pick the ability that, you know, is more interesting and makes me do more stuff. But the thing is that, like, this actually goes against the goals, which is the companion is just there to take up hits, and the ranger is just a damage dealer. So I don't want to be tied to hurting the same thing that the companion happens to be attacking. This is the thing that we were talking about, the damage over time, which is a big boost for a lot of effort. Bonus against range attacks is nifty, but I think actually here we will just take Vicious Aim because it's more damage, and damage is good. when you are trying to be a damage dealer. I'm just going to go ahead and turn this thing on. These modes, I think Obsidian missed a little bit, because when there's a trade-off, that's a good thing. I like trade-offs, but if all of the trade-offs are either adding to or subtracting from your damage, then at the end of the day, either you get an average overall damage increase or you don't. If you do, then it's just plus damage and it's boring. If you don't, then the whole thing is a damn trap and you shouldn't take it. So I don't like things like that. I wish the trade-off was a little bit more interesting. Like, maybe like, you know, you move slower but you do more damage, or your defenses are worse but you do more damage, or something like that, so that you actually have to think about it and feel like a measurable trade-off, as opposed to like, well, my overall DPS is going up, so I don't really give a shit about this stuff, you know, and my DPS is just going up. So it's something that looks like a trade-off, but isn't one. Anyway, that all was neither here nor there. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, this is the one who had the grappling hook, which made me realize I should check the other people for things like that. Oh god, a rope, a grappling hook, and a pry bar? Holy shit. Well, we already have a torch. I don't need lockpicks. There is some stuff here. I might do an off-camera thing and see if one of these things is worth buying. What I've noticed is that I just like I buy one of these expensive weapons sometimes, and then just like end up not caring and I'm out of money. So like I could get this bow, which is like, oh, it's a unique war bow, and it heals you, and it can stun on a crit, and it deals more damage. Like it's a good bow, but I just don't really want to worry about this stuff, because I'm like rich, but you can see that even though I am rich, the stuff is so expensive that I'll quickly not be rich anymore if I buy it. This is actually a pretty good item for if you want to play as a tanky sort of character, because it's a Warhammer and they're pretty shitty. Their thing is like a bonus to crit damage, which is like whatever, but it gives you one extra enemy engaged, so if you are going to have a dual wielding character, this is actually a pretty decent one to use. Obviously if you play with a one-hand weapon and shield, this is also good, because this is like a free talent right here, which is pretty darn solid. This is a reach weapon, which is decent. It debuffs your enemy's accuracy, which is kind of nifty. I'm probably going to stick with my staff, though, for the Barbarian, because that has 2 different damage types, so I think it's worth it overall. This is a two-handed scepter. I don't like this. I pretty much just ignore any of these things that give you a bonus when you're below health. Although increasing your grazes to hits is certainly nice. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about these things. I'll do my shopping off camera. I don't really care about it that much. So, anyways, that was saying. So there's 3 factions here. So one of them is the mercenaries, which are kind of rough and tumble and douchebags. And then there's like the Knights of the Crucible, which are like sort of the upstanding sorts, but they're kind of shady too. They're like capturing souls and tying them to armor and using them as like...
But they certainly don't mind taking our coin.
Okay, that was nice of you to say. Yeah,
Sharp eyes and keen ears.
Jesus, I feel like my volume's up too high. Anyway, so then there's Knights of the Crucible. They're sort of like the upstanding sort of do-gooder types, but they're not really knights, and they're trying to be, and they're sort of stuck up and obsessed with prestige, and they're doing like wacky experiments on souls and armor, so they're kind of weird. And then there's House Domino. They're sort of like the more or less evil types. They're kind of like the thieves, assassins, guildy sort of people, and they're obviously sort of evil. So basically, if you do enough quests with one of them, then it locks you out of the other 2. Although you start off being able to do quests for all 3. Eventually, like, there comes to be like a big quest and things come to a head. And if you do that one, then you actually, if you even start that one, then you can't join up with any of the other 2. Finishing that quest for one of the factions gives your main character a talent, depending on which faction you chose. It's either like a damage bonus or a defense bonus. And it also helps with a quest that happens in your stronghold later on, because they actually fight for you, which is kind of cool. And if you ignore all that, because you're like, man, these factions are all sort of douchey, I just don't want to deal with any of them, well, eventually you have to. It comes to a point in the main storyline where you just have to do it. And I like that the game just kind of shove you in the direction a little bit, so like it kind of makes you want to side with them, because obviously there's quests, and quests are good, and you get rewards, and each one also has like a unique merchant that sells pretty cool gear that you can only shop at if you complete enough quests for them. So there's like some incentive to do it. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just start the quests with the dozens, because I like the bonus that they get. And overall, it's the mercenaries who work for them that are sort of douchey. I feel like the dozens themselves are sort of the most logical of all the factions.
Keep your fucking blade up. If that dummy you want an expedition.
All right.
I was formerly one of the knights. No.
So yeah.
You don't choose still.
So you're this is a surprisingly long quest where we have to go into the Knights of the Crucible, and you can hire adventurers here, reroll characters, and manage your party. Nifty. Did not know you could do that. Anyway, so yeah, so you have to go into the Knights of the Crucible and fuck with them a little bit, which surprisingly does not actually piss them off. There are a lot of threads on the internet about people who are like, oh no, like I've been locked out of one of the factions, what can I do? And the answer is nothing. But the lockout happens if you accept like the second quest after completing the first one. I believe you can do the first quest for pretty much all of the factions. So anyway, this lady person is a special merchant. She has some pretty decent gear. She basically has like, I think, fine or maybe exceptional versions of a lot of different weapons. So if you just want like a good generic weapon, she's good to have on tap. And on top of that, of course, she also has some uniques. Although you saw that merchant, the merchants outside just kind of standing out here in the open, they had some pretty good gear as well. Man, is this going to be a video where I just did absolutely nothing the entire time?
Happens, at least we're out of that
Let's see, there's some random people's houses that I'm not going to go into without a reason. There's the dormitory, which I'm not going to go into without a reason.
That's what I meant to call.
I guess, you know, if you explore a lot, obviously you can, like, be like, oh, the Hall of Revealed Mysteries, well, that seems like a cool place to go. Maybe I should check it out. Eventually, you'll need to go to the catacombs, because that's where the main quest is, and then maybe I'll do that at some point or other. For now, I suppose I'm just going to unlock the next map segments and call it a video. I'm sorry, that nothing happened. I don't think I fought a single thing in this video. It's just me walking around talking. Maybe I should have made this an off-camera video. I talk too much for it to be a true off-camera video, but that's kind of what this was. Maybe I'll just, oh yeah, okay, let's talk to this. This is a fun quest. This kid wants you to buy him a dagger, which is just really, really stupid. You can of course do it and then get in a little bit of trouble, but I'll probably do it just because it's kind of funny. We'll do that later. For now, let's just unlock the way into Brackenbury. And then go into First Fires. Man, there is so much crap to do in this city. Well, who's this guy? What's he talking about? Oh god. Oh god, is this gonna be a quest? I don't think I've actually... Oh, okay, wow. Alright, sure. I'll help random I've actually not done that quest before. I didn't notice that guy. I ran right past him before. Yep. We'll do a random quest for Stranger Man that we just ran across, muttering to himself in the road. Yeah, you know, I guess, I don't know, if I was designing an RPG and I come to a city, like, clearly I'd need to give quests for the adventurers, but it always comes across so bizarrely when you just wander into a city and everybody needs your help. Okay, so we've unlocked the other map areas. I guess I'll go to the Goose and Fox.
You must gather your party before venturing
I'm sure has some quest in there for me too. And rest so that my people don't get randomly tired on me in the middle of the next video. Maybe do some shopping. Oh yeah, it's good to check in all the taverns. Sometimes they sell like grappling hooks and hammer and chisel sets and things, because it really sucks when you need one of them and you don't have one. So I always try to preempt the problem by just getting a whole bunch of them up front.
Good day to you.
This is a lovely place. Okay. Alright. Let's see what you got, buddy. Let me take a look at your equipment. So he's got a lot of food and a dog. Sure. Let's get all the pets. Why not? I've had the black cat enough. Let's go ahead and equip the lab. But it's okay, kitty. You can stay in my inventory. It's fine. Put all that stuff into the inventory, into the stash. Oh yeah, I came here to rest. So I'm pretty loaded, so I could get one of these fancy rooms. 2 dexterity, 1 survival, and 10 defense and disengaging. Athletics, mechanics, and ranged accuracy. That's actually an interesting one. Do have a lot of ranged characters, and +1 mechanics is nice because every now and then you'll run into like a trap that you can't disarm because your main trapper person is 1 mechanics off. These are all sort of mediocre bonuses, like +1 to a random stat is not that big of a deal. Yeah, why don't we go +5 ranged accuracy? That's kind of huge. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So for the next couple of rests, we'll get some bonuses, and that'll do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe. Sorry nothing happened, and in the next video, we'll actually start doing some of the quests in this big city. I'll see you guys soon.